I often get people going like, oh, I really want to try premium, but I can't find lists because, there's no events and some of these things are hard to solve. So I was like, you know what? I'll try to fix it myself. So from now on, I'm going to try to upload a bunch of lists made on CFA. And the thing with these lists is it's not going to be completely ready, the perfect optimized deck. It's literally going to be a skeleton. A list that I feel is solid for what the deck wants to achieve. It shows you the cards you may want to consider, but then you can still completely change them. Like, they're not running the one-off insane techs or anything like that yet that maybe elevate them to a new level or that makes it fit your style or of deck build or anything like that. So it's not really a deck profile, it's more so just a really good deck skeleton, and you can get crazy from there. The first one we're doing today is MORDRED. The reason is, in my tier list video, I saw quite some people going, oh, Chain Rancor, MORDRED, blah, blah, blah. So, if you have your standard MORDRED deck, and since it's pretty shit now, you can just turn it into premium, and we'll see what we come up with. So, starting with the G-Zone, I will say, some of these G-Guards you could maybe move around. Like, you see, the first thing we see is a Dismal. I think Dismal is still really good, especially in this deck, because you don't want to lose your Blaster Darks. Your Blaster Darks are the only thing you have going for you. And you don't want to use a lot of CB either on your Masquerades to try and get them back. So just being able to protect them is already pretty good. Then we have the Plot Makers, just a free G-Guard. Jellido, very strong because Nemain spams your field full and then Jellido empties it. And then you can use your Nemains to just keep spamming it full. Then we have Ultima, just a solid random I try to win button. If you're out of cards on the field or out of cards in the hand, I need to try now, you go for Ultima. And the best thing is, MORDRED as a deck doesn't even need a stride game to keep playing. So this deck doesn't care quite as much as your typical G deck does about losing its G-Zone. Then we have Drag Abyss. It's the only free stride you got. So as you may notice, in this list we have the Superior Ride, and so if you're being denied for some reason because someone is afraid of your Superior Ride, you can at least go into Drag Abyss and plus a little. Then we have Dark Veil, just a G-Guard that gets very big the longer the game goes on. We have one more Fessa in case you need it, but usually you'll go into something else, we'll get to that. Then we have one Agnos. This is a stride from the first premium collection that makes your other strides free. So once again, if you're being damage denied because you're getting that Superior Ride or something like that, at least you get to make sure that you get free strides from this point onwards, even if you are unable to use the CB based skills. Then we have two Cyclones. This is just flip fodder because if you are going for your kill turn, sometimes you may just want to call the heal trigger down because you need to push and win now anyway. So therefore, if you've been flipping your Cyclones, those heals will at least be 15k boosters instead of 5k. And then finally, the stride that really makes everything work, and that is Chain Rancor. This will basically copy the skill of MORDRED, but on GB3, it will also start guard restricting extremely heavily. So if you reach the full MORDRED with 2 Blaster Darks and the GB3 skill, you usually win. Now, of course, this deck won't always be able to get there. Some decks are quite fast, but in general, that's going to be your biggest win con. Then we have Phantom Blaster Dragon twice in the main deck because you want to be able to Superior Ride. One could argue the deck only needs one, the kind of philosophy that Brilliant Fusion had in Yu-Gi-Oh! But regardless, I like the 2 for safety, especially because this deck is so lean. Like, in general, you only need MORDRED plus Blaster Dark. We didn't really need the space, so having 2 for slightly more consistency was absolutely fine. This also means that if you do Brandwin and you find PBD in your top check, you can just add it without being super afraid. Then we have our 4 Blaster Darks, obviously both great for the Superior Ride as well as all the MORDRED skills you need for. We have Masquerade, which on Ride, if you didn't see the main, can be a free plus. But then it can also just search for your Blaster Darks in order to get your full MORDRED turns as fast as possible. We have 2 of the Blaster Dark Searcher. In this deck, it has 2 functions. First of all, it searches Blaster Dark for your Superior Ride, but secondly, it searches Blaster Dark for your MORDRED plays. Then we have 4 in the main. The main is insane. Searches for your Superior Ride, searches for draws, searches for the girl that gets big for Blaster Dark, searches for everything, basically. Then you notice we have 1 Swordbreaker. Again, you need some extra draws, and the main can get them for you. And the main searches Swordbreaker, and that's that. We also run an Abyssal Owl. We'll get to that, but you could, if you're trying to be budget, cut the Swordbreaker for the Owl. Then we run 3 of the Masquerade Boy that can revive Blaster Dark. If you have the CB for it, why not? You can also get some extra force markers. Again, you got that CB, you're going for that kill, you might as well use all your CB and go ham even harder. Then we have the girl that gets big of Blaster Dark. Again, only one because the main can search it. Usually it's more of a win more card in premium because generally once you have the GB3 on Chain Rancor, it doesn't really matter how big those Blaster Darks are getting. Regardless, it's there, you have access to it, and the main can find it for you. 3 Brandwin, because we really do want to ride Mordred as quickly as possible, especially after our Superior ride. You can't really G-assist for the Mordred anymore. Having the Brandwin is really nice in this deck. So this way we actually have 7 Searchers for Mordred, the Masquerade and the Brandwin. Then we have 3 Tempest Spheres. Now why Tempest Sphere? Really big deal. Again, we want to reach the GB3 of Chain Rancor. So if you are able to do a first stride, maybe you even Superior Road, and of course, then you don't have GB3 yet. But if you can activate the Tempest Sphere, maybe search some heals to survive more easily, you do now have the GB3. And so sometimes you can just blow people out that way. Then we have the Superior Ride Chick, which you can search off the main, and an Abyssal Owl. Again, Abyssal Owl is kind of better than Swordbreaker because sometimes it doesn't cost Counterblast. However, it also doesn't get power. So being able to call a Swordbreaker during a grade 2 game out of your hand to have a 10k body can sometimes be good if you're forced into that grade 2 game. And so I like the 1-1, but you know, if you would rather go double Abyssal Owl, that's all fine. If you'd rather cut a Swordbreaker to fit under Masquerade, that's all fine. Again, I'm just giving you options with these deck skeletons and you can go wild from there. Then for our trigger lineup, we have our 4 heals. They're V heals because we want to have that defensive and offensive power. We have 4 draw PGs, because draws are very good in this deck, and again, draw PGs are just so much value. Then we have 4 Premium Collection crits, which go to Soul, and 4 Stride Fodder crits. You definitely need those in this deck, because once again, after PBD, you want to rewrite into Mordred, and then you need another grade 3 to discard, so that's quite some grade 3s you need. Also, we're only running 6 grade 3s, so rounding the amount of Stride Fodder in the deck out to 10, very nice, and then the 1 starter. So this feels like, you know, a solid skeleton if you want to try the Chain Rancor Mordred deck. Be sure to just copy this and go have fun, build some of your own. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon. Ciao.